As you settle into a comfortable place and allow the day to slowly dissolve behind you, imagine yourself drifting above a vast, dark ocean. The surface is calm, gently rising and falling, while below stretches a world that has existed almost unchanged for hundreds of millions of years. Tonight, we're going to move slowly through the quiet realm of sharks, not as creatures of fear, but as ancient, graceful beings shaped by time and water. This is a sleepy journey meant to relax your thoughts and guide you gently toward rest. If you enjoy calming stories like this, remember to like the video, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves peaceful bedtime listening. Now take a slow breath and let's begin drifting into the deep. Now let's move on to fact 1 and softly consider just how ancient sharks truly are. Sharks existed long before dinosaurs ever walked on land. They have been moving through Earth's oceans for more than 400 million years, quietly adapting as continents shifted and climates changed. Imagine endless generations of sharks swimming through warm prehistoric seas beneath skies that looked entirely different from today. While many species came and went, sharks endured, refining their forms rather than reinventing them. Their bodies became perfectly suited to life in water, shaped by patience rather than haste. This deep history gives sharks a timeless presence, as if they belong not to one era, but to the ocean itself. Now let's drift gently into fact 2, where we explore how sharks move through the water. Sharks do not rush unless they need to. Most of the time they glide. Their bodies sway gently from side to side, tails pushing them forward with smooth, efficient movements. Imagine watching a shark from a distance, its silhouette calm and steady, cutting quietly through the blue. This motion conserves energy, allowing sharks to travel long distances without strain. Their movement feels almost meditative, like slow breathing translated into motion. In this way, sharks embody stillness even while moving, reminding us that power does not always need speed. Now let's drift softly into fact 3 and think about how sharks experience their environment. Sharks are deeply tuned into the ocean through senses humans can barely imagine. They detect subtle vibrations in the water, changes in pressure, and faint electrical signals produced by living beings. Picture a shark moving through dark water, guided not by sight, but by invisible currents of information. The ocean speaks constantly, and sharks listen without effort. This sensory awareness allows them to navigate vast spaces with calm confidence. Their world is rich, layered, and quiet, filled with signals that guide them gently rather than overwhelm them. Now let's move on to fact 5 and consider the way sharks rest. Contrary to popular belief, not all sharks must swim constantly to survive. Many species rest quietly on the ocean floor or hover in place, water flowing gently over their gills. Imagine a shark resting beneath a coral ledge, body still, eyes half-lidded, perfectly at ease in its surroundings. Even sharks that continue moving do so slowly, drifting rather than actively swimming. Rest for sharks is built into their existence. They understand balance instinctively, alternating movement and stillness in harmony with the sea. Now let's drift into fact 5, where we explore how sharks see the world. Shark vision is adapted to low light, allowing them to navigate the dim depths with ease. Their eyes are sensitive, tuned to contrast and motion rather than detail. Imagine light filtering down from the surface, fading gradually into shadow while a shark moves effortlessly through this twilight zone. Their perception is calm and functional, focused only on what matters. Sharks do not become distracted by unnecessary detail. This simplicity creates efficiency and clarity, showing us how awareness can be focused without being tense. Now let's move gently into fact 6 and reflect on shark's skin. Shark's skin is covered in tiny structures called dermal denticles, which feel smooth in one direction and rough in the other. These denticles reduce drag, allowing sharks to glide through water with minimal resistance. Imagine running a hand along the surface of a shark's skin as water flows past, feeling how perfectly it interacts with its environment. This design is so efficient that humans have studied it to improve swimsuits in ships. Shark skin is a quiet example of nature refining form over immense time, creating solutions that feel effortless and natural. Now let's drift into fact 7 and consider how sharks breathe. Sharks extract oxygen from water as it passes over their gills, a steady exchange that mirrors calm breathing. With each gentle movement, water flows in, oxygen is absorbed, and water flows out again. Imagine this rhythm continuing hour after hour, day after day without conscious effort. Breathing is constant, reliable, and unforced. Watching sharks move can slow our own breathing, inviting us to match their steady pace and let tension dissolve with each imagined current passing by. Now let's move softly into fact 8, where we explore shark diversity. There are over 500 species of sharks, ranging from small, delicate forms to massive, slow-moving giants. Some live in shallow coastal waters, others in deep, dark oceans where sunlight never reaches. Imagine this diversity spread quietly across the planet, each species occupying its own calm niche. Despite their differences, all sharks share a sense of balance with their environment. They are not chaotic or aggressive by nature, but specialized, precise, and deeply connected to their surroundings. Now let's drift into fact 9 and think about how sharks interact with time. Sharks grow slowly, mature gradually, and often live long lives. This slow pace shapes their existence. They are not creatures of urgency, but of patience. Imagine years passing as a shark follows familiar migration paths, returning to the same waters again and again. Time flows differently underwater, stretched and softened by currents and distance. Sharks move within this slower rhythm naturally, teaching us that longevity often comes from restraint rather than excess. Now let's move gently into fact 11 and rest on the role sharks play in the ocean. Sharks help maintain balance by regulating marine populations, preventing ecosystems from becoming overwhelmed. Their presence keeps the ocean healthy even when they are rarely seen. Imagine an unseen guardian moving quietly through the depths, influencing life without disruption. Sharks do not dominate their world, they stabilize it. Their role is subtle but essential, reminding us that the most important forces are often the quietest ones. Let yourself sink a little deeper now as the water grows darker and quieter and the surface feels very far away. Your thoughts can slow even more as we continue this gentle journey. We'll drift onward with the next 10 sleepy facts about sharks, moving calmly and without hurry, just like they do. Now let's ease into fact 11 and think about how sharks sleep without ever truly falling asleep. Sharks don't sleep in the way humans do, with full unconsciousness. Instead, parts of their brain rest while other parts remain gently alert. Imagine drifting in a half-dream state, aware but deeply relaxed, floating between wakefulness and rest. This is how sharks exist much of the time, gliding through the ocean in a constant state of calm awareness. It's a reminder that rest doesn't always mean shutting down completely. Sometimes it means softening, loosening, and letting the mind become quiet while the body continues its gentle rhythm. Now let's move slowly into Fact 12 and consider shark migrations. Some sharks travel thousands of kilometers across open oceans, following ancient routes guided by instinct and subtle environmental cues. Imagine a lone shark moving through endless blue, day after day, beneath changing skies and shifting stars. There is no rush, no panic, only steady movement toward familiar waters. These migrations can take months, even years, unfolding at a pace that feels timeless. The ocean becomes a moving meditation, and the journey itself is as important as the destination. Now let's drift into Fact 13, where we explore how sharks sense the Earth itself. Sharks can detect the planet's magnetic field, using it like an internal compass. Picture invisible lines wrapping around the Earth, guiding sharks gently through vast, featureless seas. Even in darkness or murky water, they remain oriented, calm, and confident. This deep connection to the planet gives sharks a sense of belonging wherever they go. They are never truly lost because the Earth is always quietly speaking to them. Now let's soften into Fact 14 and think about how sharks eat. Sharks do not eat constantly. Many go days, sometimes weeks between meals. After feeding, they rest and digest slowly, conserving energy. Imagine a shark drifting peacefully after a meal, its body heavy and relaxed, sinking slightly as it lets digestion happen naturally. There is no excess, no urgency. Everything happens when it needs to. This rhythm of nourishment and rest mirrors the ocean's own dominance, steady and forgiving. Now let's move gently into Fact 15 and focus on shark teeth. Sharks continuously grow and replace their teeth throughout their lives. When one tooth falls away, another slowly moves forward to take its place. Imagine this quiet process happening again and again without pain or drama, simply part of life's flow. There is something comforting in this constant renewal, a reminder that loss and replacement are natural processes, not emergencies. The ocean understands cycles deeply, and sharks live fully within them. Now let's drift into Fact 16, where we consider how sharks communicate. Sharks don't make sounds like many animals. Instead, they communicate through movement, posture, and presence. A slow turn, a slight change in direction, or a gentle distance kept between bodies speaks volumes. Imagine a language made entirely of motion and space, quiet and respectful. In this silent conversation, there is no shouting, no chaos, only subtle understanding. It's a form of communication that feels peaceful, even elegant. Now let's ease into Fact 18 and think about how sharks end curiosity. Sharks are often curious rather than aggressive. When they encounter something unfamiliar, they may circle slowly, observing from a distance. Imagine a shark approaching gently, not with fear or hunger, but with quiet interest. This curiosity is careful and measured, never rushed. It reminds us that curiosity doesn't have to be loud or impulsive. It can be calm, patient, and respectful. Now let's drift into Fact 19 and reflect on the quiet confidence of sharks. Sharks don't compete unnecessarily. They don't chase what isn't meant for them. They move with assurance, trusting their instincts and their place in the ocean. Imagine carrying that same confidence, knowing you don't need to hurry or prove anything. Sharks simply exist as they are, and that is enough. Their calm presence can ease our own need to rush or compare. Now let's move softly into fact 19 and consider the deep sea sharks that live far below the surface. These sharks dwell in near total darkness, where pressure is immense and time feels slowed. Imagine a world with no sunlight, only faint glimmers and shadows, where movement is slow and deliberate. In this quiet realm, sharks glide like living shadows, perfectly adapted to stillness. The deep sea teaches patience, and its sharks embody serenity in its purest form. Now let's drift into fact 20 and think about the role of silence in a shark's life. The ocean is not truly silent, but it is muted, softened by water. Sharks live immersed in this constant hush, where sounds are distant and gentle. Imagine being wrapped in a world where noise cannot reach you, where everything feels padded and calm. This environment shapes sharks into creatures of quiet strength, moving smoothly through a world that encourages stillness rather than stress. Let's drift a little farther now, deeper into calmer water, where the light is dimmer and everything feels slower. Your breathing can soften as we continue, carried gently by the current into the next 10 sleepy facts about sharks. Now let's move into fact 21 and think about how old sharks truly are as a group. Sharks existed long before trees grew on land. Long before dinosaurs walked the earth, sharks were already moving through ancient seas. Imagine an ocean world untouched by humans, where the same smooth shapes you see today were already gliding through warm, shallow waters. This deep sense of continuity gives sharks an almost timeless presence. They are not in a hurry because they have already survived ages beyond counting. Now let's ease into fact 22, where we consider how sharks grow. Sharks grow slowly, much more slowly than most people realize. Some species take decades to reach full size. Imagine years passing quietly as a shark matures, growing little by little, season by season, never rushing the process. This slow growth teaches patience, reminding us that meaningful strength often comes gently over long stretches of time rather than all at once. Now let's drift into fact 23 and focus on how sharks heal. Sharks have remarkable healing abilities. Cuts and injuries often heal faster than expected, even in harsh ocean conditions. Picture a shark moving calmly despite a wound, trusting its body to repair itself. Over time, skin smooths, strength returns, and balance is restored. There's something comforting in this quiet resilience, the idea that healing doesn't always need attention or worry. It can happen naturally in its own time. Now let's move softly into fact 24 and think about shark skin. Shark skin is covered in tiny tooth-like scales called dermal denticles. These create a surface that feels smooth in one direction and rough in the other. Imagine running your hand gently along the flow of the ocean, feeling resistance fade away. This design helps sharks move effortlessly through water, reducing drag and conserving energy. It's a reminder that even small details can create ease and efficiency in motion. Now let's drift into fact 25, where we consider how sharks rest. Some sharks rest by sinking gently to the ocean floor or finding calm currents that support their bodies. Others continue to swim slowly, letting movement itself become rest. Imagine resting without stopping, floating in a state where effort and relaxation blend together. Sharks teach us that rest doesn't always mean stillness. It can also be gentle motion without stress. Now let's ease into fact 26 and think about shark eyes. Sharks have a reflective layer behind their eyes that helps them see in low light. In dim waters, even faint traces of light become visible. Imagine being able to see softly in darkness, without fear, without strain. Sharks move confidently through twilight zones where shadows dominate and brightness fades. There's peace in knowing that even when light is scarce, awareness can remain calm and steady. Now let's drift into fact 27 and consider shark mothers. Some sharks give birth to live young, while others lay eggs protected by tough cases. In either case, the process is quiet and self-contained. There is no nest, no crowd, no ceremony, just life continuing calmly. Imagine a baby shark entering the world already capable of swimming, already part of the ocean's rhythm. Independence begins early, but never feels lonely in such a vast, embracing environment. Now let's move gently into fact 28 and think about how sharks conserve energy. Sharks glide whenever possible, using minimal movement to maintain speed. They let currents help them rather than fighting against them. Imagine learning when to move and when to allow life to carry you. This effortless efficiency allows sharks to travel great distances without exhaustion, a lesson in trusting flow instead of forcing progress. Now let's drift into fact 30 and reflect on the calm mystery sharks carry. Much about sharks remains unknown, hidden in deep waters and distant seas. Scientists continue to learn slowly, patiently, piecing together understanding over time. Imagine being a creature still full of mystery, not fully explained, not fully revealed. There's comfort in knowing that not everything needs to be understood immediately. Some things are meant to remain gentle mysteries, drifting quietly beneath the surface. Now let's move into fact 31 and think about how sharks experience time. Sharks live in a rhythm that feels very different from ours. There are no clocks, no deadlines, no sudden changes in pace. Days are shaped by light and darkness, by temperature and current. Imagine time stretching out, wide and forgiving, where nothing needs to happen quickly. Sharks live fully inside this slow rhythm, responding only when necessary, resting when the ocean allows. It's a life guided by natural signals rather than urgency. Now let's ease into fact 32, where we consider how sharks use temperature. Many sharks move between warmer and cooler waters throughout the day. Warm water helps their muscles work efficiently, while cooler depths offer rest and conservation. Picture a shark rising gently toward sunlight, then drifting back down into cooler blue shadows. This quiet movement between temperatures is like a natural form of breathing, expanding and contracting, warming and cooling, all without effort. Now let's drift into fact 33 and focus on how sharks sense vibrations. Sharks can feel faint movements in the water through special receptors along their bodies. Even distant ripples carry meaning. Imagine being able to sense the world not through sound or sight, but through subtle tremors that pass softly through you. This awareness allows sharks to understand their surroundings without anxiety, receiving information gently rather than forcefully. Now let's move calmly into fact 34 and think about sharks and solitude. Many sharks spend long stretches of time alone, moving through vast spaces without companionship. Yet this solitude is not loneliness. It is quiet presence, a peaceful coexistence with the ocean itself. Imagine being alone but never empty, surrounded by water that supports and carries you. Sharks show us that solitude can be deeply calming when it's embraced rather than feared. Now let's drift into fact 35, where we reflect on how sharks rarely waste energy. Every movement has purpose. Sharp turns are avoided unless necessary, and bursts of speed are saved for important moments. Picture a body so tuned to its environment that nothing is wasted, nothing rushed. This careful use of energy creates a sense of calm efficiency, reminding us that rest is preserved by moving gently whenever possible. Now let's ease into fact 36 and consider how sharks interact with light. Near the surface, sunlight breaks into shimmering patterns. Deeper down, light softens into blue and then fades completely. Sharks move through all of these layers without resistance, adapting quietly to each shift. Imagine traveling through changing light without strain, allowing brightness to come and go naturally. There's comfort in this ability to accept change without tension. Now let's drift into fact 37 and think about how sharks rarely show aggression toward humans. Despite their reputation, most sharks avoid human contact entirely. They are cautious, observant, and more likely to swim away than toward us. Imagine a powerful creature choosing distance and calm over confrontation. This gentle restraint reveals a quieter truth about sharks, one rooted in balance rather than fear. Now let's move softly into fact 38, where we explore shark memories. Sharks can remember certain locations, migration routes, and feeding grounds over long periods of time. These memories guide them calmly across oceans. Imagine carrying memories not as heavy burdens, but as soft guides, gently steering you where you need to go. Sharks hold memory without attachment, using it only when it serves the journey. Now let's drift into fact 39 and focus on how sharks respond to danger. When threatened, sharks often choose avoidance over conflict. They change direction, sink deeper, or glide away silently. There is no panic, no chaos, only quiet adjustment. Imagine responding to stress not with fear, but with a simple shift in movement. This calm adaptability helps sharks survive without constant tension. Now let's ease into fact 40 and think about the deep calm of the open ocean. Sharks often travel far from land, where the sea stretches endlessly in all directions. There are no boundaries, no sharp edges, only rolling blue. In this vast openness, movement becomes meditation. Imagine floating in a place where nothing presses in on you, where space itself feels soothing. Sharks are perfectly at home in this openness, carrying calm with them wherever they go. Now let's move into fact 41 and reflect on how sharks communicate through body language. Sharks rarely vocalize. Instead, subtle shifts in posture, the angle of their fins, and the rhythm of their swimming convey meaning. Imagine a shark gliding alongside another, slightly tilting, pausing, or adjusting its path, a silent conversation flowing through water. This quiet language is precise, respectful, and unobtrusive. It reminds us that sometimes the most meaningful communication doesn't need words. It only needs awareness, patience, and attention. Now let's drift into Fact 42, where we explore how sharks sense chemical changes in the water. Tiny molecules, almost invisible, tell sharks what creatures are nearby, what has passed, and even if danger lurks ahead. Picture a shark floating slowly, detecting scents from hundreds of meters away, absorbing information with a calm curiosity. There is no panic, only understanding, a patient awareness that allows the shark to move carefully, conserving energy while staying alert. Their world is soft with signals, subtle and continuous. Now let's ease into Fact 43 and consider the gentle precision of shark hunting. Hunting is not always frantic. Many sharks move with slow, careful timing, striking only when conditions are perfect. Imagine a shark observing a school of fish, gliding silently, muscles relaxed, eyes focused. When the moment comes, action is swift but not chaotic, like the soft snapping of a hinge. There is elegance in this patience, a reminder that timing matters more than force, and that calm observation often leads to the most effective outcomes. Now let's drift into Fact 44 and think about the beauty of shark diversity. From the tiny lantern shark glowing in deep water to the immense whale shark filtering slowly near the surface, each species moves at its own rhythm, perfectly adapted to its niche. Picture the colors, shapes, and textures of these creatures, each quietly navigating their world. This diversity is not chaotic, it's harmonious, a soft chorus of life unfolding at a gentle pace, showing us that variation and balance can coexist beautifully. Now let's move softly into Fact 45 and reflect on shark migration patterns. Some species travel thousands of kilometers with deliberate grace, following currents, temperature changes, and seasonal rhythms. Imagine drifting alongside one as it moves steadily across oceans, day into night, month into month, trusting instincts honed over millions of years. There is no hurry, no anxiety, only the slow flow of life guiding the journey. Sharks remind us that persistence and patience often matter more than speed. Now let's drift into Fact 46, where we consider shark senses of hearing. Sharks detect low-frequency sounds that ripple across water, sensing distant movement or storms far away. Imagine listening to a gentle vibration that tells you where to go, without urgency, without panic. These signals guide sharks calmly, helping them navigate the vast ocean with confidence. Their perception is steady, precise, and subtle, allowing them to move through an immense world with quiet assurance. Now let's move gently into Fact 47 and think about the social moments of sharks. While often solitary, some sharks form loose associations, gliding alongside others during migrations or feeding. There is no rush, no competitive tension, just peaceful coexistence. Imagine a group of sharks moving together, each aware of the other, synchronized in rhythm yet independent in motion. There is calm cooperation here, showing us how coexistence can be gentle, relaxed, and unforced. Now let's drift into Fact 48, where we reflect on shark longevity. Some species live decades, their bodies aging slowly, their movements remaining smooth and purposeful even in later years. Imagine a shark growing older, gliding through familiar waters, each motion effortless. Aging does not bring anxiety, it brings wisdom, experience, and calm adaptation. The ocean carries them steadily, and they respond with patience and grace, teaching us that time can be embraced gently rather than feared. Now let's move softly into fact 50, the final fact, and think about the overall calm presence of sharks. Sharks move through oceans without haste, without unnecessary conflict, simply existing in balance with their surroundings. Picture a shark gliding in deep blue water, perfectly at ease, each movement flowing into the next, body and environment in quiet harmony. Their existence is a lesson in patience, rhythm, and effortless balance. They remind us that strength can be gentle, power can be calm, and life can be lived without urgency. And now, as we float toward the end of this journey, imagine the ocean stretching endlessly around you, dark, soft, and quiet. Waves move slowly, currents hum gently, and sharks drift through their timeless realms steady and unhurried. We've wandered together through 50 immersive, sleepy facts, each one an invitation to observe patience, awareness, and calm presence. Let your breathing match the slow rhythm of the sea, your thoughts soften like the shadows in deep water, and feel the quiet wisdom of these ancient creatures settle around you. Nothing needs to be done, nothing needs to be solved. Like a shark gliding through endless blue, simply let yourself drift, fully present in this gentle, calming ocean of thought.